At the end of this session, you will be able to create a servlet to retrieve data from MySQL database. To understand the concept how to retrieve data from MySQL database using Servlet, first create a table in MySQL database. To create a table in MySQL database, open MySQL Workbench, provide your credentials to connect with your database, then create a table in any one of the database which you created already. So I'm using KLU database, there I'm going to create a table. I named the table as book and with 3 columns, book ID, data type as integer, and book ID will be the primary key. Next, title of the book, varchar. So I just increase the size of a varchar. Next, price, data type double. Then apply. It generates a query to create a table in the database KLU with 3 fields, book ID, title and price, and primary key is book ID. Then apply. It executes the query, then finish. Now the table is created. So the table book is created. It has 3 columns, book ID, title and price. So now I'm going to retrieve the data by executing the select query. Select star from database KLU and table name is book. So this is the content available in the table book. Now I'm going to insert some record manually. Book ID, title, and price of the book. So I inserted 3 records into the table book, then apply, then only the inputs will be stored permanently into the table. So it generates an insert query based on the input which we entered, then apply, finish, and execute the query. Select star from KLU.book one more time to ensure the data will be stored permanently in the table. So now the data is stored permanently in the table book. It has 3 records. Then open Red Hat Code Ready Studio and create a new Maven project. Then choose architecture type for web application version 1.4 from Apache Maven archetype. Then apply filter Maven archetype web app. Then choose Maven archetype web app version 1.4 from Apache Maven archetype. Then provide the details of group ID, project name. Then if you want, you can change the package name. Then finish. It creates a directory structure based on the architecture type we selected. Once the build process is completed, we can explore the directory structure in the project explorer. The directory structure is created based on the architecture type web application version 1.4. We need to resolve the basic errors: JRE compilation problem, JSP problem, and Java build path problem. To resolve JSP problem, identify the file in the location src main web app index.jsp, right click and choose the option delete to resolve JSP problem. Then open the file pom.xml, upgrade the Maven compiler version and target from 1.7 to 1.8. Then add dependency for Java Servlet API and MySQL connector. So open a website mvnrepository.com, then search API search dependency for Java Servlet API. So click on Java Servlet API and choose the latest version 4.0.1 and copy the dependency details. Paste it in the form.xml file under the tag dependencies. Then we need to add one more dependency for MySQL. So in the same website, search MySQL connector. So this is the link where we can find the dependency for MySQL connector. Open the link, then choose the latest version 8.0.29, copy the dependency details and paste it in the form.xml file under dependencies next to the Java Servlet API. Then save, close the file form.xml, update the project by choosing the project root directory, go to the option Maven update project. Once the project is updated, then we can start implementing the concept to retrieve data from MySQL database using Servlet. So next, create a build path for Java class files. So choose the directory main, right click, go to the option new folder and create a folder in the name Java. Then finish, it will be automatically added into the directory structure. So then choose the build path source main Java, right click on it, go to the option new class. So enter the package name as com.model. So in this package, I'm going to create two Java class files. One is for entity and another one is for build the logic. So first create a Java class in the name book. Finish. So now the class book.java is created in the package com.model. So I'm going to use this class as an entity class for the table book which we created in the MySQL database. In the MySQL database, I created a table book with three columns. One is book ID and title and then price. Book ID is declared as integer and the title as varchar with the size 100 and price as double. So that I'm going to create a three instance variable. One is for book ID and title and price. So create three instance variable which matched with your uh, table, MySQL table book. So then create get and set method for these three instance variable. To create a get and set method, we can choose the file name book.java from the project directory structure. Right click on the file book.java, go to the option source, then choose get setter, generate getter and setters, and select all the instance variable. Click on generate, it generates get and set method for the instance variable book ID, title and price. So next I'm going to create one more method toString. So that method by default the toString method is invoked whenever the object of the class book will be used in the output statement. So right click on the book.java, then go to the option source, there generate toString option will be there. Just click on generate toString, then generate. At the end of the class, the method toString will be added in the class file book.java. So this method will be invoked automatically when the object of the class book used in the output statement. It returns output like class name within the square bracket, the value of the instance variable book ID, title and price. So then create another class in the same package to build the logic to retrieve data from the database table. So choose the same project directory, package name com.model, right click, go to new, then class and name the class as book manager, then finish. So in this class I'm going to build the logic to retrieve from the database table book. This is the instance variable for a connection string to MySQL database. Next, another instance variable for a database username, and create another instance variable for password. Database password equal to your MySQL password. This is the password I entered while installing MySQL database in my laptop. So you should use your MySQL database password. So then I'm creating a new method to retrieve data from the database table book. Public return type is list. Just start typing 2 or 3 letters, then give control space that you can find the interface list from the package java.util. So add the list type is book class and the method name is get details. So now I'm creating object for the connection interface. And create another object for prepared statement. We can use statement object or prepared statement object to execute the query. So prepared statement is performance faster than statement, so that I'm using prepared statement to execute the SQL query here. In the method get details, initialize the object connection by using the class driver manager and the method get connection, and pass 3 instance variable as a parameter to the method get connection, connection URL, and then database username, and then database password. Then initialize the preferred statement object ps equal to object of connection interface dot call the method preferred statement and pass SQL query to retrieve data from the table as a parameter to the method preferred statement. This is the query to retrieve data from the table book. So we need to handle the exception. We can use try catch or add throws exception. So then create object for result set and initialize by using the object of preferred statement and call the method execute query. So this is the method executes the query select star from table. The result of the query will be assigned to the object result set RS. Then create object for the list class and the type is book. So, and initialize the object using array list class. So then create a loop to retrieve data from the object result set. So the rs.next method return a boolean value. If the object has a record, it returns true. If the object doesn't have any record, it returns false. Then create an object for the class book. Then assign value to the instance variable of the entity class book. So I used to call the method b.setBookId value from the result set object rs dot get int method and column number 1. So the SQL query retrieves the data from the table. In the table there are 3 columns. First column is book ID, second is title, and third one is price. So book ID is declared as integer in the table, so that I'm using getInt method to retrieve the value from column number 1. Next I'm going to set value for title. So I call the method b.setTitle and assign value from the object rs.getString method and retrieve from column number 2. So second column is an title. In the database that will be declared as varchar with size 100. So we can use getString method to retrieve data from the. Next, set price. So value is rs dot get double. Since the price is declared as double in the database table, we should use the method get double to retrieve data from column number 3. So then finally I'm going to add this into the into the list object L. So list is created, the object name is L. Use the object name L and call the method add, pass the object of book class as a parameter to the method add. So now the particular row from the table will be added into the list. At the end, return the object L. So this is the getDetail method to retrieve data from the database. First I initialized the connection object by using the class name driverManager.getConnection. It takes 3 parameters: connection URL, database username, and database password. Then the preferred statement object is initialized by using the object of connection interface connection.preferred statement method. We passed the select query as a parameter to the method preferred statement. The select query retrieves the data from the table book. So in MySQL database, I created a table in the name book and I inserted 3 records manually. So the select query returns a 3 row that will be assigned to the result set object rs. Then I am creating object for the class list for the data type book and initialized by using the array list class. Then the loop is repeated for 3 times. Each and every time the object is created for the entity class book and set the instance variables book ID, book title, and price based on the value from the result set object. So and then the object will be added into the list. Finally, the list will be returned as a result from the function getDetails. Then create a servlet as a controller to call the method getDetails from the class bookManager and send response back to the web browser. Choose the build path source main Java, right click it, go to the option new servlet and package name com.controller and the class name I entered as book service. Then finish, it creates a servlet in the package com.controller. Now you can see the package com.controller in the build path source main Java. That package has a class name book service. This is the default code available in that class book service. So just remove the command lines so that we can avoid the confusions. So constructor also not required, just we can remove the constructor. Then the default statement available in the method do get and also from the method do post. So now we can implement our logic to call the method getDetails from the model class name bookManager and return the response to the web browser. So use the doGet method and create object for the class bookManager So then give control space. So create object for the class book manager. Just start typing and press control space. It will list out. There you can choose the class name book manager from the package com.model. Choose from the list. The package will be imported to your class file. Okay, then create some object. I created object in the name BM. Initialize by using the class name book manager. So now the object is created for the class book manager in the package com.model. Next, use the response object. There are two parameters for the method doGet. The second parameter is servlet response. So by using the object response, we can send the response to the browser. So use the object of response and set content type text HTML. Then create object for the class print writer and initialize the object by using the response object and call the method getWriter. Next, use the print method of printWriter class and call the method from the book manager. So the object is created for the book manager is BM. So use the object of book manager and call the method getDetails. End with semicolon. These will be placed inside the try catch block to handle the exception. So create a try catch. So now I created a try catch block to handle the exception. Then place the statement pw.print inside the try catch block. In the catch block, just print the error. Okay, in the doGet method, first I created an object for the class book manager that will be available in the package com.model. Next, I set the content type for the response object as text.html. Then object is created for the class printWriter and initialized by using the response object.getWriter method. Then the try catch block is created to handle the exception. Then use the statement pw.print and call the method getDetails which we created in the class book manager. So the object of the book manager is BM, so that I'm using the object of the class book manager dot I call the method getDetails. This method will retrieve the data from the database table book and display those details in the browser with the help of print method. If any error occurred, that will be handled in the try catch. Choose the project root directory, run as run on server, finish. Once the project is deployed successfully, it opens an inbuilt browser with a link. Yeah, this is the link where we can test the Servlet which retrieves the data from database table. So the class name of the Servlet is book service. So then press enter. It retrieves data from the database table book. In MySQL Workbench, I created a table in the name book. There I inserted 3 records. So this is first record and the second and third. So this is how we can implement a servlet to retrieve data from the database table.